What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 video, and I'm just checking in on you. What's going on? How are ya? Now today is March the 11th, and this is going to be your weekly vendor reset and must-buys. So sit back, relax, grab that popcorn, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. But we'll start off here in Washington, D.C. We will finish up in New York City. Our first vendor of the video will be our base of ops vendor. Here we go. And starting off at the top, we have The Grudge. This is the named Banshee SMG with Perfect Vindictive, and this one with magazine size. Following that, we have a Vector 9mm with max rate of fire and pressure point, followed by a SIG 556 with rate of fire and vindictive, and finally a 586 Magnum with crit hit damage and reformation. Looking at the gear items, we have a Overlord backpack with weapon handling status and galvanize. And finally, for the gear items, a Murakami chest piece. Interesting. With skill damage and weapon handling and glass cannon. Remember that the 3-piece Murakami gives you skill damage as well. Not bad. Not bad at all. Looking at the mods, we have Crit Chance 4.4, Drone Duration 6.4, Turret Damage 4.2, and Sticky Bomb Duration 4%. Must-buys, things to look for from the base of ops vendor. Sadly, I'm not going to recommend any of those. All right. Let's jump over to the Countdown vendor and Clan vendor before we start moving around the map. Now, remember, the Countdown and Clan vendors are also in New York City, just so you know. Here's the Countdown vendor for this. Godly Contractor's Gloves. Pick these up. Change the weapon damage to an armor core, and then you can later on change it back to a weapon damage core if you want. Keep the crit hit damage, and you can actually just optimize that once or twice to max. The Anarchist Cookbook is another must-buy. This one is the named Golan backpack with Perfectly Wicked, and this week it comes with Crit Chance. So just change the health off. You could go double crit, you could go crit headshot, you could go crit armor regeneration, you could go crit status. There are so many different ways you could make this backpack great, so check it out. And then finally at the top, we have the Like Glue. This is the named Super 90 with Perfect Brazen, and this one with max armor damage and crit chance. But the two must-buys will be the Contractor's Gloves and the Anarchist Cookbook. Both of those great pickups. Nice. That was a nice surprise. Good old Countdown vendor. Now jumping over here to the Clan vendor. Now before I do that, big shout out to the DoD, Disciples of Doom. We are on all platforms. We are on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. So if you are on my Discord server, you can put your name under whatever platform you're on. And then that way, whenever I have openings in the clan, I will send you a message, and then we can try to get you in. And that's how you get into the DoD. But all right, here we go. Clan vendor. Starting with the Cold Relations. This is the named PP19 with Perfect Strained, and this one with health damage. Looking at the gear set items, we have an Eclipse Protocol holster with skill haste, a Striker's chest piece with health, and a Hunter's Fury chest piece with max explosive resistance. Gross! Looking at the high-end items, we have a Negev with max reload and Thunderstrike, a PDR with max headshot and Optimist, Alps climbing gloves with skill damage and weapon handling, enhanced AUG with health damage and sledgehammer, followed by Empress chest piece with intimidate, weapon handling, and hazard, 511 knee pads with armor regeneration and max weapon handling, and finally, an Electrique chest piece with skill haste, crit hit damage, and obliterate. Looking at the mods, we have repair skills 17.4, drone or Firefly speed 8.6. Drone plus 2 extra bombs, and Sticky Bomb duration 6.7. Now, must-buys from the Clan vendor, sadly, no. I would not recommend anything from the Clan vendor. All right, we're going to make our way west, and then we will double back east. Our first stop is going to be the campus settlement. Let's go. Now, if you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up, support the channel by subscribing, and just so you know, you can get those exclusive Twitch drops right now on Twitch. And guess what? I'm live streaming right now, so you can catch me over there at Kamikazevondoom on Twitch. Here we go. Campus settlement. Starting with the Cricket. This is the named GR9 with perfect precision strike, and this one with accuracy as an attribute. Moving on, we have a Paratrooper SVD with swap speed and future perfect, and finally a Black Market M60 with health damage and close and personal. Looking at the gear items, we have a Lingmo mask with crit hit damage, skill damage, and a Golan gear holster with status and crit hit damage. That's a really good Golan holster. That's a good one. Looking at the mods, we have Skill Haste 10.0, Chem Launcher Duration 4.1, Hive Health 7.9, Pulse Radius 8.8, and finally Trap Duration of 5.7. Now, must-buys, things to look for from the campus, the Golan gear. Golan gear holster, pick it up right now. And that is it for the good old campus. Now let's start hitting up the Dark Zone vendors, starting with Dark Zone West. West! Let's go. And before we get into the Dark Zone vendors, just a reminder, they only take DZ resources. So go to your resources tab, and just above the keys, you will see your Dark Zone resources. There you go. For example, I'm sitting at 319 out of 999, so if I run out of Dark Zone resources, I have to go back into the Dark Zone and open up the little blue boxes, or I have to pick up contaminated items, deconstruct them into DZ resources, and then extract them. Either way, that's how you get them. All right. And speaking of which, here is your first DZ vendor, DZ West. And starting with the Harmony, this is a fan favorite named rifle with perfectly in sync, and this one with crit chance. It's all right. Moving on, we have a Marine Super 90 with magazine size and close and personal, and finally a Resolute MK47 with fast hands and swap speed. Looking at the gear items, we have ongoing gloves with explosive resistance, Virtuoso knee pads with skill damage, Uzina gloves with crit damage, explosive resistance, and Empress knee pads with status and crit chance. Looking at the mods, we have incoming repairs 16.3, Seeker Mine health 6.5, shield deflector damage 4.3, Firefly skill haste 5.8, and decoy duration of 6.0. Must-buys, things to look for from DZ West. I mean, the Harmony, but it has really low rolls. I would change the crit chance to damage targets at a cover, and then you'd have to optimize the rifle and crit hit damage. So because of that, I probably wouldn't pick that one up, but I know a lot of people love that rifle, so I'll go ahead and say it. Anyways, now it's time to take our talents down south to the DZ South. Here we go. We going down south, boy. Woo-ah! Here we go. All right, DZ South. Starting with the Devil's Due. This is the named Cheska backpack with perfect clutch. And this one with headshot and crit hit damage. Not bad. Not bad at all. Looking at the high-end items, we have a M1928 with swap speed and close and personal, an ACR with headshot and pressure point, and a 93R with crit hit damage and spike. Looking at the gear items, we have a Cavalier backpack with crit chance, a Rigger chest piece with headshot damage, 511 backpack with armor regeneration, status, and companion, and finally a Uzina Getica chest piece with health, explosive resistance, and tag team. Looking at the mods, we have headshot 7.2, drone damage reduction 4.9, and turret duration 5.9, and sticky bomb skill haste of 4.1. Now, must-buys, things to look for from DZ South. The Devil's Due is a good one. Devil's Due. Now, before we go to DZ East, we need to make a little pit stop over here to the Castle Settlement. Now, remember, for the Castle Settlement, you go to the Descent entrance. That way, you can just run up the stairs here, pet the dog, and then turn around and go to the vendor. All right, where's Ransom? Here we go. Ransom, how you doing? Hey, puppy. There you go. Pet the doggy. Now, I believe the second interaction is now random, so let's try a second interaction. We'll see if it's just petting the doggy. Remember, this is Ransom, everybody. You can see the name tag right behind. Oh, nope, never mind. If Ransom's sitting over here, it's just going to be the wagging of the tail. But if he's behind us, there will be different interactions. But as long as he's in front of the, she's in front of the doghouse, should be good to go. All right. Jumping over here to the castle settlement before this music blares out my eardrums. Here is your castle settlement vendor. Starting with the Dare. This is the named GR9 with perfect flatline, and this one with rate of fire. It's alright. Very low stats. Following that, we have a SR1 with health damage and naked, and then finally a GR9 with max armor damage and vindictive. Looking at the gear items, we have a Brazos mask with hazard and health, and a Wyvern holster with skill damage and crit damage. Looking at the mods, we have skill duration 8.6, chem launcher radius 6.1, hive plus 4 repair charges, pulse cone size 6.4, and trap duration of 4.2. Now, must buys things to look for from the castle settlement, not really. And let's make our way to the last Dark Zone vendor, DZ East. Now, do not go to the main entrance for this Dark Zone. Go to the Alpha checkpoint because the vendor is right outside that checkpoint. You will get a double loading screen. It's fine. It's just trying to put you in a popular Dark Zone lobby. It is what it is. Just exit out the checkpoint, and the vendor will be right there to your left. If not, you will spawn way out there, and then you have to run all the way through the courtyard. But here we go. DZ East. Big money, no whammies. Starting with the Commando, this is the named SVD with perfectly naked. Following that, we have a SR1A1, or SRS-A1, there you go, magazine size lucky shot. And finally, a tactical M249 with eyeless and headshot damage. There you go. Looking at the gear items, we have Cavalier Mask with skill haste, a Refactor holster with health, Grupo Mask with repair skills and max hazard, and finally, Richter and Kaiser holster with hazard and status. Looking at the mods, we have repair skills 15.6, chem launcher skill haste 5.9, hive health 7.7, pulse radius 8.7, and trap duration of 5.8. Now, must buys things to look for from DZ East. Nah, not really. And that will leave us with the last vendor in Washington, D.C., the theater. The theater! We're going to the theater. All right, come on, man. Big money. No whammies. The Eagle's Grasp. This is the named Zoo Gloves with weapon handling as a named attribute. And this one also comes with headshot. Looking at the high-end items, we have a Marine Super 90 with crit chance and brazen, a Urban MDR with crit chance and sync, Araldi gloves with crit damage, headshot damage, and finally, a Grupo pair of knee pads with health and hazard. Looking at the mods, we have Blind Deaf Resistance 8.5, Seeker Mind +1 cluster, Shield Holstered Regeneration 4.3, Firefly Blind Effect Duration 5.9, and finally, Decoy Duration 6.0. Now, must buys from the theater. The Eagle's Grasp isn't bad. It's okay, but you might want that weapon handling to go with the headshot, especially if you're on console. But all right, that is it for Washington, D.C. Now let's jump over to New York City. Now remember, you need Warlords of New York to access these vendors, just so you know. But there's only 2 vendors over here. There is Marco at the top of the escalator, and then there is Roy Benitez just outside. So here we go. Come on. Put us in, coach. There we go. Safe area detected. And first up, we have Marco right here. Marco. Starting with the G36 with swap speed and on empty. A SRS A1 with armor damage and naked. And, classic M1A with swap speed and Thunderstrike. And finally, for the weapons, a Snub-Nosed Diceros with rate of fire and Thunderstrike. Looking at the gear items, we have an Araldi chest piece with hazard, explosive resistance, and reassigned. Alps climbing gloves with status and explosive resistance. And finally, Sokolov Concern holster with hazard and armor regeneration. That one's not bad. You could go crit armor regeneration, but then the weapon handling kind of kills that for you. I don't know. It's all right. Looking at the mods, we have crit chance 4.6, blind deaf resistance 8.5, seeker mind skill haste 4.8, firefly speed 7.9, and finally sticky bomb damage of 6.2. Must buys things to look for from Marco. Not really. I mean, the Sokolov Concern holster's not bad, but I would either go crit hazard or crit armor regeneration. Either or. Or you could go keep it with hazard armor regeneration, just change it to an armor core and just go straight tank. That could be pretty dirty. Anyways, our last vendor, Roy hold on. Before we even get to Roy Benitez, make sure you pet the dog twice. This one, twice. The first one, you're just petting the dog, normal. Normal, operations. But if you interact with the dog a second time, ooh, this one's going to be random. Let's see what he does. Oh, he's shaking my hand. Let's go. All right, GG's. And finally, Roy Benitez. Starting with the FAL, this one armor damage and precision strike, followed by a classic M44 with crit chance and preservation, a Spaz 12 with swap speed and killer, and finally a first wave PF45 with stability and ranger. Looking at the gear items, we have a Petrov backpack with skill haste, explosive resistance, and versatile, Sokolov Concern gloves with headshot and hazard, and finally a Golan Gear mask with max status and repair skills. Looking at the mods here, we have skill haste 10.2, protection from elites 11.0, turret duration 6.1, hive stem charges +4, and decoy duration of 6.0. Now this Golan mask is going to be the only must buy. Now this Golan mask, you keep the status and go status crit, status hazard, status headshot. There's a few different ways you can do this, but keep status on there. Remember the one piece Golan also gives you status effects. But all right, that is it for your weekly vendor reset and must buys for today, March the 11th. I tried to go through that as quickly as possible, mainly because I'm streaming right now. So I'm on Twitch. Follow me over there at Kamikazevondoom and you might catch me live. But that's it for me. Have a good day. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.